Hi, this is Maria Nodoff and George Lowry here from the Orangeville History Project. Today is October 20th, 2023, and we are at the Castilone home to interview Russel Castilone, who's a longtime resident of Orangeville and very involved in the board. So, Russ, what year were you born?
I was born November 3rd, 1940.
And where were your parents born?
They were born in New York,
And where were you born?
in Buffalo, New York.
When did you move out to California?
1946.
And why?
My dad needed to get to a drier climate. The doctor advised him to move west. We had relatives that lived at that time in Oak Park, and we moved in with them for a while till my dad bought a place on 2nd Avenue in Sacramento, where the DMV is now.
Oh,
They confiscated his property in 1948. We moved out and moved to Freeport. He built a home in Freeport.
I see. So how did you end up in Orangeville?
My dad, we lived in Freeport for about 10 years. I started my high school year in Clarksburg, and we moved to Sacramento my junior year and lived in Oak Park, where my dad went. He was in the postal business, got out of the postal business, and got his electrical contractor's license in 1952. And
So you finished high school in Sacramento?
in McClatchy,
At McClatchy.
and then we moved out here in the spring of we moved here in the spring of '58. My dad bought a home here in the subdivision just up the street.
Do you know why your family chose Orangeville?
They had relatives in Sacramento, but he found property in Orangeville. At that time, they were building the dam in the mid-'50s, and he bought a piece of property on Main Avenue from O.D. Kingsley. Owned the property. It had rental property. It was about an acre, and it had 7 Quonset huts on it. And my father developed the front of it, built a building there, and we moved in '58.
And that was on Main?
Main Avenue, yeah.
So you were through with high school by then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what happened after high school?
Well, I went to work for Yancey Company for 2 years, and then went back to work with my dad when he moved out here to Orangeville.
So you do electrical work?
Yes. Yep.
And where were you trained?
My father.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Worked every summer with him. Yeah.
So how long did you do that?
I did that since I can remember, 12, 13 years old, the early 50s.
And you retired from that job?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a lot. So Russ, tell me about your family.
Well, I raised 4 children here in Orangeville. We started on Walnut Avenue. I bought my first house on Walnut Avenue. About the time Aerojet was pretty much moving down to the Bay Area, San Jose area, and they were having people walk away from their homes. So the banker came to me and my father and wanted to know if we would be interested in taking over the loans. So we bought a couple of houses that way, and that's how I got started.
So you did do some work in real estate then?
Yes, we've developed different pieces of property around, Sacramento area,
And where did your children go to school?
They went to school. They started out grammar school at St. John's in Folsom, and transferred to, the second year that my oldest daughter was going to Mercy, and they closed the school down, so they all went from grammar. She went 1.5 years to Mercy, but then she went to Casa Roble. They all graduated from Casa Roble.
All right.
I had one daughter that went to college.
Okay. And what was your wife's name?
Pat.
So, what are your memories of Orangeville back in the 50s and
Well,
60s?
it was raising 4 children. I was working all the time, so I didn't pay a lot of attention to what was going on. There was a lot going on in Orangeville, but it wasn't my key was to keep my family fed and clothed and a roof. So I didn't spend much time. I spent a little bit of time in Orangeville because my father he got into the not Rotary, but
Chamber?
well, he was involved in the chamber.
Kiwanis, maybe?
No, the
Lions?
other. I was a lion
Uh-huh.
years ago.
What else is there?
It's a very popular club,
Uh-huh.
men's club. Anyway, he was involved in a little bit of that. Involved when they transferred the property in I guess the early '60s. He transferred some property in Orangevale to Folsom.
Mhm.
And Jack Kipp was head of LAFCO then, and kind of pushed that annex our eastern border there, you know.
LAFCO is the local area
Yeah,
formation
yeah,
committee.
yeah.
Right.
that was-
Yeah.
And so the land went to Folsom.
Mm-hmm. They annexed it.
Annex. So my notes say that you have been a board member for a long, long time.
Since '76.
And could
I
you
took over Dick Bacon. Dick Bacon was a businessman in Orangeville. He passed away. And Fred Tomick came to me and wanted to know if I'd be interested in serving on the board. And I said, to finish out his term. And I told him I would. They met once a month. And that's how I got on the board. And I've been there ever since.
and describe the board. What did you do?
Mainly making decisions that were just common sense decisions for the water company. It's gotten more complex now because of the water situation. Back in those days, you paid a flat rate if you had a parcel, and you paid a little more if you had acreage, and it was a flat rate. Well, of course now everything's on meters, so and we install all the meters, our Orangeville Water Company.
The board did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, we did all own in-house.
wow. So,
Over a period of time, we had quite a few years at the time, because then everybody else ran out. We were finished, and a lot of the other surrounding water districts were not. Some of them still have meters to put in.
huh. So who did you work with?
I worked for myself and my father.
No, I meant on the board. Who
Oh,
were
on the
your
board? Well, at that time was Tomick.
Mm-hmm.
He spent, I know while I was there, we celebrated his 50th year. Victor Sal, Carl Lamson, Bob Mosinger, a lot of just local people, local business people.
Mm-hmm. So what other big decisions did you have to make?
Well, probably one of the biggest decisions we made when my father and I moved the property from Main Avenue to Greenback Lane. We bought a piece of property on Greenback Lane next to Rodman Electric and developed it, and we've been there ever since. My father sold the property on Main Avenue to one of our tenants and pretty much retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is back in the probably early '70s when we made that move.
So you were involved when you your kids, I guess, were moving on. So
All my children worked for Sal Brothers, all of them, at one time or another while they were in school. They were either candling eggs, picking fruit, apples, peaches, all and they pretty much, I think at one time I had 3 of my daughters were working there.
And where was that?
On Filbert Avenue, between Oak Avenue and Elm, between Elm and Central. right next to Rusty's Stables.
Yes.
There was a fruit farm right across the street. Somebody had, I don't think it's there anymore, right across from the South property.
Ah,
They were the big egg farmers in Orangevale, plus fruit.
who did they, do you know who they sold their eggs to?
Just local.
Just
Yeah,
lo-
yeah,
just-
they took them to the farmer's market and
Mhm.
sold them local.
Mhm.
They had a store there. My
Mhm.
kids worked in, you know,
What kind of fruit did they grow?
peaches, apricots, nectarines, apples.
Mhm.
They had an apple orchard. It wasn't here. It was, I believe, in Wheatland. I think that's where the apple orchard was. And
And
Yep.
that was that Victor Sal?
Victor and his brother Nick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Nick lives in Woodland. He bought property. When they sold that property, Nick bought some property in Wheatland, and Victor bought a commercial property downtown
Right.
with some of the funds. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, what are other memories that you have of living here?
Well, of course, keeping this house up was a project, but I think the biggest thing was different people I met in Orangevale, business people. I remember a lot the original powwow days when we started with some friends of mine, myself and some friends of mine. Carl Purrington on Main Avenue, he was one of the headed that up at that time, and made the event that it is today. I don't even know what they call it. It went from powwow days to different names.
Assorted names.
Yeah,
I
assorted
can't
names.
remember what it is now.
We call it Bow Wow Days?
Powwow,
Pow.
Bow Wow Days.
Bow Wow.
That's what
I think it's been turned into a dog-centric celebration.
heavenly
It could
days.
have.
Yeah, well, powwow became unacceptably politically
Yeah,
incorrect.
yeah. Yeah, it was called something days. That the one originally started was Fiesta Days, or I don't know. It was at the youth center where the Little League is there now.
Mhm.
That's where they had the original one. We had local people dig a pit in the back, and they had sides of beef. I remember they had sides of beef that went in that big hunks of hindquarters, and then they put a metal, and we stayed there all night long, checking, making sure there's no air to the fire, so it wouldn't flame up. And the next day we had a barbecue.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of good things were happening then. You know, there was a lot of good people out in this area. You know.
Do you know Charlie Clark?
Yes, I knew Charlie Clark. Yeah,
And
he was at one time his son married my second daughter.
oh,
Not for very long though.
oh,
But yeah, Charlie was. I knew Charlie very well.
yeah,
We worked for did a lot of work for the same contractors.
yeah. So
In fact, you just interviewed him not too long ago, didn't you?
he was one of our first interviews.
He lives over on Santa Juanita there, or Main, or Central.
Yeah.
Mm.
He our first one was Nick Sal.
Nick, okay.
Yeah. So I think Charlie was our second.
All right.
So have you seen any of the interviews?
No, I haven't seen any. I've read articles in the paper, but
Mhm.
I've never seen any
Mhm.
interviews. Yeah.
Well, they are on either the Facebook channel, or you can just
Oh.
go to orangevalehistoryproject.org, and we have a
Okay.
website if you want
Okay.
to see any
No,
of them.
I'm not a computer fan, so I don't. I don't own a computer.
Oh, well then, reading the
My
papers.
business does, but we have to have a computer.
Yeah.
But my daughter takes care of that.
Uh-huh. Yes, they recently it just came out in the Orangevale View that they interviewed Chris Gerard, who
Name doesn't ring a bell.
she lived across the street.
Oh, she lived on Greenback,
Yeah, she lived
yeah,
right across the street from
Filbert.
from the Greenhalghs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's in Arizona now.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to tell us about your life, about Orangevale?
Well, It's been interesting, and it's been good. It's been profitable to my business, and we've been here a long time. My children all grew up here. They all live close by. My son lives over by the park, the Wall Park on Oak Avenue, and my daughter lives right around the corner here in the same subdivision as I do, my oldest daughter. And my son lives down by the park, and I have a daughter lives in Rescue, and I have a daughter that has passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, that, yeah, a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
Well, I guess the main thing is that it was a great place to raise my children. I mean, overall it was a good experience with the schooling they had, and being able to work got them some work ethics that they have never forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a good experience overall. Yeah. I've worked on different houses in Orangeville. I started off on my first house I bought was on Walnut Avenue, and then the lady that owned the Foster Freeze, her husband passed away, and I bought her house, and I remodeled it. Then I bought a piece of property on Filbert Avenue, just down the street from Sal's, an acre of almond orchards. And that one thing I remember the kids appreciated, the almond. I had 35 almond trees in the front yard. So it was almond knocking time. And they would do that and make gifts for their teachers and stuff with almonds. It was interesting. It was a good place to raise my children. Yeah.
I bet the bloom was gorgeous.
Yeah.
A front yard full of
Yeah.
almond
Yeah.
blooms.
35 almond trees in the front yard.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I sold that house and I built this one.
Mm-hmm.
And been here ever since.
Well, it's a beautiful house.
Yes.
It served its purpose. Well, I don't know how much longer I can keep it up, but my kids help me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I notice you have a mug there. It says the art of belly dancing. Do you have a belly dancer in your family?
That was stuff the kids had given me. Which one are you looking at?
There's a coffee mug. There's a says,
The glare of the glass from here is different. I don't know. We had, I think we got that. We took the kids one night to the belly dance you show up here on Greenback. There's a restaurant there across from Winco.
Mm-hmm.
It serves that kind of East Indian food.
Are you talking about the kebab house
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Yes.
the kebab. They had
Yes.
one time they had a belly dancer in there, and we took the kids wanted to go see the belly dancers,
Uh-huh.
so we took them.
Great.
That's where we got that.
I only asked. My wife is a belly dancer.
Oh, okay.
They dance down on Main Street, south of Madison.
Oh.
South of Madison.
Yeah. It's a studio down there.
Oh, before you get to the center. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There used to be a mortuary down there. Now I think it's a school
Yeah.
of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Smuds here in one part of the building.
Yeah.
Yep. I've seen a lot of changes in Orangeville, most all for the good. So a lot of things happen in both ends of town. There used to be a Main Avenue end and a Hazel Avenue end. And they were kind of either belonged to one group or the other group. It's kind of a split in Orangeville at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Was there animosity or just?
A little bit, not much. It was a business thing. Just a little conflict of interest, I guess. We claim to be the main end of town, and they claim to be the main whatever.
Uh-huh.
Then they put the thing on Orangeville in the center of Chestnut Avenue and Greenback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who made that decision, but
I know.
that's not the center of Orangeville.
Criticism of that.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
Where did your wife or you grocery shop?
I went to Rayleigh's and Safeways. She did mostly Rayleigh's when
Mhm.
she was here.
Mhm.
I haven't shopped in a while. My kids have been doing the shopping for me. I'm going to start now. I can get around a little better
Mhm.
now. So
Great.
it's fun.
So you're recovering nicely from your hip replacement?
They tell me I am, so I'll take their word for it as long as I can. So yeah, the last 2 years I've gone through a lot of surgeries,
Ah,
and I've had both hips replaced. I've had open heart surgery. I've had it's been the last 2 years it's amazing what they're able to do to help old people like me. They could never get over that. Yeah.
so you said that
So-
they've been changes for the good.
Yeah, I think the different developments we've had from where it started was where it was heading to where it wound up. The big shopping center on Greenback and Hazel, the Cable Center, Mr. Cable used to own this property.
Mm.
When he developed it, I told him I'd be interested in buying a lot when he was ready. And unfortunately, he passed away shortly after that. But his mother, she was Sadie. She came over with her daughter-in-law and sat down with me and gave me the map. After they made the map, the property, had me pick out the lots I wanted, and I did. Yeah. So Orangeville has been good to me. But it's a lot of decisions to make, but fortunately for me, I've made the right ones. So,
A lot of people talk about Sadie Cable. She's
yeah.
she's a
She was,
legend.
yeah, she was. She lived to be, I think, about 100. Yeah. Still driving a car, that old green Chevrolet.
So, anything else you want to tell us?
No, there's a lot of things I can think about, but it's you've done pretty good so far. The articles I've read in the paper about how Orangeville evolved. I was just a small part of it.
Well, I love your detail on the smoking the beef. I've never
Oh,
heard that before.
Yeah, that's why it was the people that did it was I guess a fella in Roseville that did this, and it's interesting. They dig a pit about 8 feet deep, and they dug it if you're facing the clubhouse at the youth center, if you've been there,
Mm-hmm.
to the right of the clubhouse. There was a little open area, and they dug that all out. Dug a pit about 8 feet deep, about 8 feet long, about 4 feet wide. Then they put a cord of oak in it and started the fire and let it burn. And then they take sheets of metal and lay it down on top of the coals. Then they throw the meat on top. And it's packaged, all seasoned, packaged in like a parchment paper, but it was in big bags. And then they put a metal lid on top of the thing and then cover it with dirt around. And then we'd sit there all night waiting for air holes to pop up to plug it.
Oh.
It was amazing. The
So
meat was just phenomenal.
did you cook it with the parchment paper? Or
Yeah, in
oh.
the sacks.
Oh,
Yeah,
and that just
Yep.
melted away.
yep. Hmm.
Sounds heavenly.
Yeah.
So do you remember who was with you that night when you were
Ah,
you stayed up all night?
Well, there's a lot of the guys, but they're not with us anymore. I was
Yeah.
young at that time, and these guys were older people.
Uh-huh.
It was Kenny. He's very familiar. Carl Purrington, who was the Carl's Appliance on Main Avenue. I remember him and Phil Walker. He was a roofer. He lived on Central Avenue. You probably heard his name.
A roofer.
Yeah, Phil Walker and Kenny Brady. He had the backhoe, dug the hole. I can't remember the cook's name now. He was a big man. And well, there was a bunch of us that night. There's probably a dozen of us out there.
Were you there all
Sitting-
night?
Yeah, we were there all night. Yeah, until they uncovered it and got ready for the barbecue.
How many people did it feed?
Oh, it was quite a few people, if I remember right. Yeah, they probably had a few hundred people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then they started doing it up at the Grange
Mm-hmm.
after that. They only did it 1 year there at the youth center.
And then did the smoked beef tradition continue?
They did it for 3 or 4 years
Mhm.
after that. That
At
was
the
about
Grange.
it. Yeah, at the Grange. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Were you involved in the parade at all?
No, it was always on a Saturday, and I always seemed to be working Saturdays.
Uh-huh.
I went to a couple of them, but Straw was a big deal on that. Ray Straw up there, where the glass company is now. He was big in that. He always gave prizes out and stuff. Ray Straw, he's no longer with us either.
What was his business?
He had a gas station in the wrecking yard. It's where the glass company is now. Is it Chuck's Glass? I don't know.
Is it one?
Well, the glass company on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
right next to my property.
Okay.
That was Straw's business. It was a gas station and a wrecking yard.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, most of my memories are the Sal family and the Tomic family. I did work for both of them, and of course I did business with them too, buying their fruit
Mhm.
and the kids.
Mhm. I have really fond memories of going to the Tomic Orchard and seeing Fred and talking to
Oh, yeah.
him.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
remember I asked him about the olives, and he said, we don't have anybody to pick them. And
Mm,
he said back in the day,
mm.
they'd load up wagons and the horses would carry it to Sacramento to be pressed for olive oil.
Yeah. There was a couple of on Auburn Boulevard. There was a big olive factory there on Auburn Boulevard. They used to deliver a lot of olives too.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. They did well too. Fred and Tom. They kind of went their separate ways towards the end there, unfortunately.
Very unfortunate.
But,
It
yeah.
still makes me sad.
Yeah, his wife was very sick. Fred, she had, dementia, and it's just unfortunate the way things turned out.
Mhm.
Yeah, their kids used to babysit my kids
Oh.
one time, Mary. Mm.
Excellent peaches.
Yep, they had the best fruit. They knew when to pick it.
Oh,
The secret to fruit is to pick it at the right time and then eat it. You
One
don't let it
time-
hang around.
one time my girlfriend was unexpectedly had to entertain a bunch of people and had to provide dinner. And I said, well, make peach melva. That's easy. We can get peaches over at the orchard. And she said, they're closed. So we snuck over there, ran out to one of the peach trees that was close to the road,
Mm.
took a bunch of peaches,
Mm.
zoomed off, and went back the next day when they were open and said, we took these peaches. And Fred said, I can't believe the neighbors didn't see you.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had to pay for the peaches.
Mm,
Oh, it was
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had quite a farm over there. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, there's a lot of things I could say, but it's off the top of my head.
That's all right.
It's no, I just want to say that I've enjoyed Orangeville. My kids have enjoyed it, and they all live close by. Obviously, they enjoyed it. My son's in business with me now. He's running part of the business with my brother and my grandson. So this family's going to keep the business going for a little while anyway.
What's the name of the business?
Lakeview Electric, LAKE-VUE Electric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Name of company.
So what does Lakeview do? Is it commercial electric?
We do,
industrial?
most of our work is commercial. We do a lot of it residential, home remodels, kitchen remodels, that kind of thing on the residential side. But the biggest part of our business is commercial.
Mm-hmm.
We do motor control and that kind of stuff.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, big motors,
Uh-huh.
big motors,
Uh-huh.
yeah. they work on. Water districts, we've done some work for Orangevale, but they don't have a well yet. But like Elk Grove, water has a lot of wells. Northridge has a lot of wells that we work on, yeah. Not so much Northridge anymore, but Elk Grove.
Do you think Orangevale will ever have a well?
They hope so. It might not be in my time. It's getting closer. They're working on one now. They had a great well right behind the company. It was kind of a cute story. We hired out a company, these geologists that go in and check, see where there's water in your area. So Ruth Connors at the time, she was the manager of Orangeville Water Company. She remembered a friend that witched for water. And so she called him up and wanted him to come over and see if where we could find the best water in Orangeville. And he went over there and he said, the best water place you're going to find water is right in your backyard. And he witched it back there in water. And we hit an underground river right underneath the water company that test pumped 2,400 gallons a minute. That was a test pump.
So that's the
original well right behind the office
on Central.
On Central Avenue,
okay.
On our property. So, but after about, and we would just pump it at different times. We pump it into the system, but we didn't. At that time, there was plenty of water in the lake and plenty of water everywhere. We weren't looking for water. But she had a vision downrange that she thought Orangeville should be going that direction, which we did. And this, after about the 5th year, we had the water test. It was pure water. I mean, it was pure water, best well in the county, we were told. And it came contaminated with perchloride, and they couldn't figure out how the perchloride got from Aerojet, the plume, all the way up the valley here. Well, then they did further research, and they figured because of all the fertilizers that the orchards were putting into the soil finally percolated into the aquifer and contaminated the well. So we had to abandon the well. But we dug a new well up on the backside a little further away, and it still has a perchloride problem. And the perchloride percentages in the state kept getting higher and higher. Now what used to be safe before now is not safe. So we drilled another well and tapped it and hit the same aquifer. But we're going to encase the wells differently, not to let the contaminants in. The contaminants are coming from a higher elevation, going down into the well, and they figure they can exclude that from that. So we're waiting now.
So how do you witch for water? What does that mean?
They take a stick and
like a dowser,
and then they go when there's water, it goes down.
And that's what she did.
Well, he did.
He did.
Her friend.
Oh, okay.
And said, you got water right in your backyard, all you can handle. So, and he was right. So, but that was an interesting comment. But it's coming to tuition. We're a mutual water company. Well, all the districts around us are governed by the PUC. We're not. We're a mutual company. One of the few in the state of California. But we're going to partner with San Juan on this well. They agreed to do that because of a grant. We're not able to get grants as a water agency, a mutual company. We're not able to access the grants that are available to water districts. So partnering with San Juan gets us an in, and we got a loan from the water. Can't think of the name of the water district now. Anyway, they're partnering with us on this well project.
So Orangevale currently buys its water from San Juan?
All of its water comes from San Juan.
And where are they getting it?
They get it from the lake.
Right.
They have the bureau.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bureau of Reclamation. They just finished a big project up there on covering up their tank. It used to be an open tank at one time. Deer and cattle would get in it, and we were dealing with it. But Hinkle Reservoir. So they got that all squared away now. And hopefully this project will pan out for the water district for our drought years, you know. Looking ahead a little bit, actually we can do fine with just San Juan. But in a drought situation, it could get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
it'd be
Orangevale Water Company, do they sell their water to San Juan?
No,
No.
we buy from San Juan. We get our wholesale water from San Juan, we disperse it to our customers
Mm.
via the meters. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All of our water is, it comes from the lake right now. We used to have a well that we pumped 2 or 3 times a year. We didn't need to. We had plenty of water. And so San Juan, we have an inlet up on Santa Juanita. We have an inlet on Hazel Avenue. I think we have 3 inlets metered, and used to be just a flat rate. They just charge us so many acre feet. We bought 7,500 acre feet a year. That's what we paid for. We have no idea how much we used or didn't use because the meters never were correct. So interesting concept, but we paid for it and everything was fine. Everybody got a bill of $48 a month at the time. Now
Exactly, the good old days.
yeah. And the farmers were getting by real cheap because they were getting 2 inches of water for a fraction of what they do now.
Yeah.
That's what kind of run them out of business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
The water.
the water. Yeah.
Always
And
comes
the
down
land-
to the
and the-
water.
And the land value, so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I haven't seen anything moving on either property, so I don't know what's going on with Tomic or Sal. Or I knew Sal had a problem with the Homestead Act because they had to wait 100 years before they could sell their property. And I think that was up in 2000 or something like that. Yeah, I think so. I don't think Sal was under the Homestead, but I know Tomic was on the original rent on Chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
Chestnut in Maine, or Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my earlier assignments with the history project was to go to the Orangevale Water Company, and I made copies of water contracts from the turn of the last century. So they were dated 1899,
Yeah.
1901.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
Yeah. Orangeville turned 100 years in '96, I believe.
I always kind of felt cheated because I live in Orangevale. I live on Cherry, so that's north of Oak.
Cherry, you lived over by Zanettas.
Yes.
Did you know the Zanettas?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, well, yes, I interviewed Pat Sinetta,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
didn't know them.
Yeah.
We moved.
Fred would have been an interesting man to interview for Orangeville. He goes way back.
Yeah. Her interview was wonderful.
Yeah.
You should, well, you'll have to.
I haven't seen her in a long time. I got a Christmas card from her, Pat.
Yeah, if you have the chance to get over to the Orangevale History Project building, the History Project now has a museum,
Yeah.
and they have, you can see some of those interviews at the museum
Oh,
itself.
wow. Well,
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
They have like a big screen
Yeah,
TV that you can press to
Okay.
play various
okay.
interviews and that sort of thing.
I got to make it over there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marvelous.
So, there you have it. One man's opinion on what happened in Orangeville. It was when we first moved to Orangeville, it was kind of a wild town. It was a little bit wild. But of course, being a town where you had a lot of construction workers on the dam, it was kind of crazy. There's more bars than there were people almost. But I remember the Gateway, which was right across the street from our shop. I remember my dad used to go there, and guys would be in the bar in the afternoon. It would be kind of a semi-rainy day or something, and he'd go into the bar and tell everybody to buy him a drink if he'd give him a hand raising the wall. So they'd all come out and we'd go across the street, raise the wall up, went on our building, and that's how we got the building built with help from the bar guys. But we had there when my dad bought the property. There were 7 Quonset huts on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
made out built it like a bomb shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people that rented from us worked on the dam, and of course they'd spend their weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, at the aquarium club, which was the boardwalk now, was the aquarium club, and or the Gateway, or the Black Stallion, or not the Black Stallion, but the Web was down on the corner of Main. Greenback and Hazel was the Web, right on the corner where the bank is now.
Mm.
It was called the Web, and there were a lot of crazy nights in this town.
Aquarium Club, the Web, and Gateway.
Mm-hmm. There were a few bars in between, beer bars, and on down Greenback Lane. I don't remember their names now, but they had their share of bars in Orangeville.
Charlie Clark tells a wonderful story about going to the Gateway, and it was full of motorcycle people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he got nervous. I think it was his barbershop quartet went in. And but one of the motorcycle guys was a Zadunich, and from the Zadunich family, and he had worked for Charlie.
Wow.
So everything was good.
Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a restaurant there too, if you're facing the building all to the right. And Rotary, that's my dad.
Oh,
The Rotary Club, they used to meet there. I was trying to remember the service organization my dad was part of. It was Rotary Club.
Rotary. I can't
Yeah.
believe we didn't come up with that. And
Yeah.
where did they meet?
They met at the Gateway Cafe at that time. Yeah.
Gateway Cafe.
Yeah, they had a restaurant on the side of the bar there.
Huh.
And the Aquarium Club was up on a corner, and the Jet Market was on the corner of, where the Wild Sports used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a Jet Market then.
And then there was the Capri that was the public market before that,
Yeah,
that the Woos had.
yeah, the Woos had the Capri down on the corner there. And let's see, I'm trying to think of what other one, the Jet Market and the Capri. They're the only two. Well, Safeway went in as a storage place for the prison. They used to store all their canned goods there and to distribute it throughout the state from the Safeway store that was there for a while. Now it's, I don't know what it is now. It's a Halloween place, I think. It's
Yes.
temporary, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was not Rexall. It's Walgreens. It was a
Walgreens,
Walgreens for
yeah.
a while, and now it's
Yeah.
the Spirit Halloween for this
Yeah,
time. Anyway,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just had something to ask you, and it went right out of my head. I hate that. Come on. It was about. Can't remember. Oh, I know. I was going to say the other market that I could think of was Van's Market.
Yeah, well, yeah, Vans was on the corner of Walnut.
Uh-huh.
And there's a family that ran that, Fuchs family. They had 16 children. They all worked in a grocery store.
Vans,
Yeah,
the Fuchs. 16 children.
yeah, yeah.
All worked at Vans.
Mm.
Wow.
I think it was Greenback Market at that time, though. Yeah.
Back. Well, I've never heard that.
Yeah, Jimmy Fuchs. Little Jimmy Fuchs.
Fuchs. Was he little?
Yeah, he was a little short guy. Yeah, very, very short. Probably weighed 120 pounds, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else you can think of to ask me?
I'm sorry, no.
Uh-huh.
It's been fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what's wonderful about these interviews is that you always get new bits of information and new.
Yeah, you can. I can see where you
Connections.
could do that. Yeah, yeah. Growing up there on Filbert Avenue on that piece of property, with the kids, of course, they just went to school down the end of the street, Casa Roble. It was interesting, yeah, to say the least. You know, at the park there, of course, it wasn't a park like it is now at the time, on the corner of Oak and Filbert.
It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Do you know Bob Peterson?
The name sounds familiar. Was he the milkman?
No, he lived on Pecan at the old Shackleton place. I'm sorry, it was on Central, not Pecan.
Central Avenue?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Central. It was Central and Pecan. Just took a
Oh.
quick left, and there it was. I thought
Okay.
you might know him. He had
No.
a lot of kids.
It was Central and Pecan. That'd be, well, yeah, Central and Pecan. That's close to where the water company is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Didn't know the Peterson. I knew the family that lives on the street there that does the landscaping work, gardening and stuff, and lawn cutting. Can't think of their name now. But they live there on the corner on Filbert, on Pecan.
Were you here when the roads were still dirt?
No, I came after the Greenback became paved.
Uh-huh.
So no, it was always paved when I came to Orangeville. Yeah. Most, in fact, all the roads were paved. A lot of the old families are still here in '58 when I was there. I remember the family on Pecan that owned that land there. Cable. She was a Cable.
Mm-hmm.
She was married to a ball player.
Whose name
Played for the
is-
Washington Generals.
Yeah, he was pretty famous. His
Yeah.
name was Eddie something?
No, not Eddie.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah. What was his name? I knew him. I knew him, and then he passed away, and then I've done work for. Boy, what was her name?
I looked through all
Can't
my
think of
notes.
I can't think of his name now.
I've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. They had a big packing shed on the corner of Filbert. That's where the train used to come through there years ago.
Mhm.
There was a levee went down all the way to the Bluffs. Went right by my property on Walnut Avenue. You can see the rays in the road where the railroad tracks used to be. They used to come out. The spur'd come up from Auburn and Auburn Boulevard, and then come up here and go past their packing shed. Yeah. McNeely,
Yes.
Earl
Yes.
McNeely.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He had that property on Filbert
Mhm.
and Greenback for a long time. And his wife was a Cable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tomiches, the Cables, the Greenhalches,
Yeah.
quite a legacy.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the Wahoptics.
The Wachtels were
Yeah,
the Wachtics,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wahoptic lived on the corner of Chestnut and Central. They had a big 2-story White House there and a big barn at the end of the ball field from the school.
Mhm.
Yeah, Wahoptic.
And the Mosingers and.
Mosinger, yeah. Bob Mosinger, he was on the water board.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bob Mosinger lived on the corner of Central and Beach.
Mhm.
Yep. I think his wife's still alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's the only way you got on the water board if somebody passed away. Bob Mosinger took somebody that passed away. Tom Gunner served on the board. He from somebody that passed away. Then he passed away, and somebody filled his interim, and then it's been an interesting trip.
Mhm.
But one I'm not sorry for. All my kids turned out good. But that was because of their mother, not because of me. I was too busy working.
Well, you were modeling the work ethic.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I came from, my dad taught me a lot about hard work. Well, when he came out here from New York with nothing but the clothes on his back and 2 vehicles, so it was starting off pretty rough. Living in a basement with my aunt and uncle, my mother's aunt and uncle. We lived in their basement for about 6 months till he got a job. Got a job with Southern Pacific downtown, working on a rail car, electrician on the rail cars. Then he went to work for Sutter Electric. That's when they got him into Al Silk and Greenberg, and I can't think of their names now. Anyway, they had an appliance business down on Franklin Boulevard, and they used to hire my dad to electric hot water heaters, air conditioners. At that time, houses needed service changes because electrical wasn't, only. So he got involved with those people, and then they used to get, why don't you go out and get your license? We can pay you more and you make more. So he went to night school and got his license, and in '52 he quit the post office. He was working for the post office at the time in Oak Park, and quit the post office and went cold turkey in the business. So there were tough times, but it was good. All my memories of my childhood were good.
Nice.
That's lovely. Anything else?
I think you've got me covered from what I can think. I'm sure I'll think of something later on, but
Well, if you do, you can give us a call,
yeah.
and we'll put it in the notes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
I really appreciate
yeah.
your time. Thanks.